There's no finer way to spend a couple of days than with an empty racetrack and a group of cars that really come alive, when you can forget about speed limits and traffic and all that other stuff. This is Evo Magazine's Track Car of the Year, and these are 8 of the most exciting ways to get around the fabulous Blyton Park circuit.
So we're going to start off in the Mini Works GP. I should apologise for the romper suit. I don't normally wear one of these with a 200 horsepower front wheel drive hatchback, but I think it will come in useful a bit later. So this is it, the Works GP. And I love this thing. Some people just don't get front wheel drive track day cars. They say, what's the point? But you can't drift around at every track day anyway. And secondly, these front wheel drive cars can be so aggressive and so much fun. They're like little touring cars. And what I love about the Mini Works GP, while all the other hot hatches are going soft really, we've got a heavier Clio RS with paddle shift and it doesn't even feel like a Clio. This thing's a little headbang, absolutely wild. Less weight, no rear seats, mega brakes, sticky tyres, really adjustable balance. You would have an absolute hoot in this thing on track days. Does it miss a mechanical diff? That's the only thing on this car that I thought it would need, but round here you actually don't miss it. What you enjoy is the balance and the braking, which is so fun. It's just an intense little car. It's as close to a sort of Caterham hot hatch as you can get. So although this thing might be front wheel drive, I'm not sure you miss the rear wheel drive really, because it's so adjustable. You can slide it around, you can chuck it about, abuse it. It's quick, stable, and also really good fun if you want it to be oversteering. As hot hatches go, this is far and away the best one on track of the new generation. It's wicked. It's a wicked little car. It's f***ing ace, isn't it?
This test is about fun and excitement rather than lap times, but we still put GPS timing gear on each car, and the frantic Mini lays down a marker of 1 minute and 9 seconds.
Okay, next up, from the archetypal front wheel drive track day car, we've got probably the archetypal rear wheel drive track day car. This is a Subaru BRZ. Now, we've had a bit of a stormy relationship with the BRZ. We love the principle, but in practice, just thought it lacked a little something, a little bit of bite and a little bit of power. Well, this car's been modified by Litchfield to have more of both. It's got a supercharger, 280 horsepower, 210 pound-foot of torque. It's got different springs, different roll bars, better tyres, Michelin Supersports on 18-inch wheels. But it hasn't changed its appetite for oversteer. And the extra power just brings the car to life. It's so much more fun. It just goes, it goes. So the extra performance and the extra grip actually of these Michelin tyres just brings the quality of this experience way up. Suddenly you're not got those tyres, those horrible eco tyres as the weak link, and you've got torque that you can just play with the balance. It's always had the balance, but it's been hard to access it sometimes. But now you can just slide it wherever you want. So by ramping up everything on this car, far from sort of ruining the experience, it's actually brought out all the inherent qualities of the BRZ and GT86, effectively the same car, and it just makes for a great track day car. So this isn't a car about lap times, it's just about fun, and it is absolutely perfectly judged on that front. It's just wicked.
Keep things as neat and tidy as you can in the Litchfield Supercharged BRZ, and it manages a 107.5. That's over 5 seconds quicker than a standard Toyota GT86 that we timed on the same track.
So this is where things get serious. This is the Porsche Cayman S. If any car on sale has a claim to be the best all-round sports car, it's got to be this thing. So we already know the Boxster is absolutely brilliant on road and track. The Cayman ramps up the stiffness, got 10 more horsepower, same weight. And this one is in the ultimate track day spec as far as we're concerned anyway. Manual gearbox, ceramic brakes, torque vectoring rear diff. Just the sweetest engine and balance. It really is the all-round. You can drive this, it's your everyday road car, and then come to a track day and have so much fun. So compared to the Mini and the BRZ, there's a step up in quality in this car. In terms of the damping, the drivetrain, it's just creamy. More precise than those two cars. And as you get quicker and quicker, it's more fun because of that precision. I just love the ceramic brakes, they're so good, they're so good. But what about compared to the 911? That's the big question, isn't it? Can the Cayman be as much fun as the 911? Is it more precise? Well, I'll tell you what, it feels smaller, it feels lighter. And although it doesn't have the traction of the 911, I think the balance is just as good, if not better. It's not got the incredible nailed-on precision of a GT3, but compared to a Carrera or something, this thing is every bit as good. And I think it feels more special more of the time just because it does feel smaller, it does feel lighter. I think finally, the Cayman has probably overtaken the 911 for people like us who just love driving.
The Porsche is so fluid and predictable, and the lovely balance delivers a strong lap time too. It goes quickest on a 105.5. Now we're on to the extreme machines, cars that don't worry about the practicalities of everyday life and focus purely on the thrill of driving. The Ariel Atom 3.5 310 is about as extreme as it gets. No bodywork, no windscreen, just the bare essentials needed for driving. Oh, and it's got a rear-mounted 2-litre Honda VTEC engine with a supercharger and 310 horsepower to push just 600 kilos.
The Atom has never been about downforce or lap times. It's quick, obviously, on account of its lightweight and masses of power. But really it's about enjoying yourself. It's about that engine, watching the suspension work, seeing the wheels move. The grunt is just brilliant. It feels like it's wheeling. And look, even in the wet, the chassis balance is really, really good. It's much oversteer as you want. Look at this! It's so quick. 120. 130. Just brilliant. For me, the pedals aren't in quite the right place for wheel towing. But other than that, it's just a huge amount of fun. We haven't got any bad cars here, it seems. This is a riot. Woo! Might be wet, but wow, what a thing. In the drive-through there, we're oversteering 5th. I'm not brave enough to do that in the wet. But yeah, just easy, predictable. Obviously, so much more uncompromising than the Cayman or the BRZ or the Mini. If you've got the money for a track toy, it's just a wicked thing. I love the way it's engineered. I love that it doesn't really give a crap about lap times, and that it oversteers pretty much everywhere.
The Atom might not care too much for lap times, but it's still mighty quick. We squeezed a lap time in while it was dry and it blitzed the other cars that have gone before with a 103.4. This is the Radical RXC, Radical's new road car. They usually build flyweight track cars with motorbike power, but this coupe is fully type approved for the road and has a 3.7 litre V6 from a Ford Mustang. it's yours for around £100,000.
You look at this thing and you think it's just going to be a sort of downforce vest where you don't feel that much involved in the process, all bravery and not much skill, but it's not like that at all. It's really, really good fun. It's a bit of understeer through here, but it's wet now. But I love the noise. Proper grunty thing. The standout features, the gearbox is superb. But the brakes, really enjoyed the brakes on this car. Solid pedal feel. No ABS, but you just don't ever feel like it's going to lock up. It really worked well. I love the braking system. Really drivable, exciting. It feels like it needs about another 200 horsepower though. It can just soak it up, I think. It's a real character, this Radical. I think a lot of it stems from that big grunty engine. It should go on forever, because it's not very highly tuned. And it's got some neat tricks like adjustable power steering weight. Put it on about the second lightest. I think there's 5 levels of assistance where you can turn it off altogether. But yeah, just a totally different take on a sort of track day car, really. Yeah, really cool. I really like this thing. I look forward to seeing how it develops over the coming months and years. Feels like it could be an absolute weapon.
The RXC is a real surprise package, characterful and seriously impressive dynamically. Despite being one of the slowest cars along the straight, it nails a 102.9 lap time and is just fantastic fun too. If the Radical feels like it's at the start of an exciting development phase, then the BAC is the very opposite. It's so beautifully wrought that it feels like a lifetime of love and attention has already been lavished on it. Everywhere you look, from the gorgeous steering wheel with dash readout to the incredibly intricate suspension, is perfectly resolved and meticulously executed. Unlike our audio for this car, which unfortunately failed. Anyway, that might be a good thing, because I was babbling pretty much from the first corner. The Mono driving experience is unique thanks to the laid-back single-seater environment, the engine fizzing back through the structure, and the precision it delivers across a lap. I'd expected the Mono to be busy, intense and darty, but actually it's responsive and agile, but measured, almost calm in its responses. The paddle shift box is superb on the way up, but the downshift flipper is a tad lazy. But other than that, the Mono really delivers on the promise of the aesthetics. The brakes are fantastically easy to read and modulate, the front end has huge grip, and traction is pretty good even in these wet conditions. When we drove it in the dry, it was so easy to exploit, the steering seeming to fall onto the right corrective lock if the tail did step out. With 280 horsepower from a 2.3 litre 4-cylinder Duratec engine, it's fast too. Combined with huge high-speed grip and those superb brakes, it delivers a pretty crazy lap time. 101.4, by far the quickest so far. The Caterham 620R can't compete with the Mono's race car vibe. It's such a familiar shape, but we love the 7 in all its forms, and the promise of one with a 2-litre supercharged engine producing 311 horsepower is just mouth-watering. Prediction: it will be completely nuts.
It is so fast and so loud, and this car doesn't have aero or paddle shift boxes. It's just you, the 6-speed sequential, the steering wheel, and how brave you're prepared to be. It does nothing for you. engine, rear-wheel drive, no electronics, and a load of power. The main challenge is the brakes actually. Some of the other cars, the aero cars, can really brake into the turns. It's much trickier with this. You have to get your braking done in a straight line, otherwise the inside front wheel just locks on you. I've struggled a bit, I have to say, for the last couple of days with this. But it is endlessly amusing. It really is. So fast and it sounds so good. You could never get bored with the performance, and I don't think you can ever get bored with the fact that you have to drive this thing. Really drive. This is a riot. I hope that Caterham ever stop making this car. It is brilliant. Look at it!
What a phenomenal little car. Nothing challenges you like a 300 plus horsepower 7. It posts a hard won and fantastically rewarding 102.1. It's hard to believe, but when McLaren heard about our little track car of the year gathering, they suggested we might like a 12C GT CanAm edition. We assumed they were joking, but no, it arrived. The CanAm is a track day car based on the 12C GT3 racer. Unchanged from restrictive rules, it runs 630 horsepower, which is about 100 more than the GT3, and it's got greater downforce too. The monster rear wing is from a McLaren F1 GTR, which I quite like. It's a very serious car indeed. Slick tyres, adjustable traction control and ABS, and the coolest steering wheel I have ever held. You want one of these things, don't you? Well, if you find £375,000, you can have one.
So let's get this thing properly warmed up, get it going. It's so fast! This is a track day car. You could buy this to do track days. They've delivered 5 of them. Can you imagine turning up at Blyton Park in this bad boy? You could just brake so hard into the corners. It's a weapon. I've got the bottle to get the throttle on now. Woo! This is extreme as track day cars come. But the amazing thing is, it's pretty easy to drive. ABS gives you such confidence to attack the braking zones. So much grip and aero. This is pretty much flat in the dry, I think. Of course, it is a ridiculous car as a track day car, but you can't race it in certain series. And although you never need a car like this, if you had the money, why wouldn't you? It's completely nuts. Just building myself up to it because it's got so much grip and power. And the braking is just the intensity of the experience. There's traction control, but you still got to drive it. Really fast. Open the throttle, and it just goes. Okay, the tyres are coming up now. The rain's disappeared, so we can start using it and just enjoying it. I just haven't got the strength to brake as hard as it will go. It's just the performance, the front end hopping and skipping, and the speed through these direction changes. It's just phenomenal. And the fact that I can jump in this car actually drive it. Just shows you what these GT3 legs have done. These are cars designed for gentleman drivers. Most gentleman drivers are not up to race standard, and that means someone like me can get in the car and feel like they're absolutely within its neck. There's more time to come, but this is quick enough for me. Look at the braking here. I think we're doing well over 150 there.
So the CanAm reduced me to a whimpering child and absolutely decimated the circuit. Its lap time, measured 2 up like all the other cars except the Mono, was a 55.1. That's 7.6 seconds quicker than the 12C road car, and it feels crazy, like the car is just ingesting the circuit whole. Its closest competition was the Mono with a superb 101.4, followed by the wildly addictive 620R. But like we said earlier, this test won't be decided by the stopwatch alone. So that's a little taste of 2 of the best days we have had in a long time. All of the cars were deeply impressive, which is rare for any sort of group test, and there were so many great moments. Nearly spinning the Mini on cold tyres, getting wheels spinning 5th in a straight line in the wet in the Atom, and feeling the downforce pressing the Radical into the faster corners. And of course experiencing the CanAm. What a machine. But in the end we had to choose a winner, and the result was unanimous. The Caterham 620R is everything we want in a track car. Intense, adjustable, rewarding, and just laugh out loud hilarious. It's our track car of the year 2013, and we love it to death.